Get ready for your daily dose of marketing strategies and tactics from entrepreneurs with the guile and experience to help you find success in any marketing capacity. You're listening to Marketing School with your instructors, Neil Patel and Eric Su.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Marketing School. I'm Eric Su.
And I'm Neil Patel.
And today we're going to talk about how you can make changes to your website without going through development. Because we know with any kind of online businesses or any kind of online business, you're always going to have to make changes to your website, whether it's adding a certain pixel, whatever it is exactly, maybe you want to run a certain test. And oftentimes the bottleneck is having to run these through your development team. And they have other priorities on their end. They have, other Jira tickets, or they have other, the tasks to go through. And adding on the marketing stuff, sometimes it's just a pain in the butt to them. So the question is, in the modern day, how do you go about making these changes? And there's a lot of tools that have made things a lot easier. So the first one I would say that's free is Google Tag Manager. So Google Tag Manager basically lets you, it's one piece of code that you place on your website, and it allows you to make adjustments in terms of other pixels that you want to place. So once you have the Google Tag Manager code placed, you can add certain Facebook pixels, conversion pixels to different thank you pages, new pages that you have going on, Google Analytics tags, and then you can also track different events separately in Analytics. There's actually a lot that you can do with Google Tag Manager, but just remember, if you have any type of pixels, developers hate dealing with that stuff. So if you have something like Google Tag Manager, that's a good place to start. And there's also an alternative that's paid called segment.io. So you can check both of those out. The one thing I will say is if you're part of a bigger company and you're pitching Google Tag Manager, it's going to be an uphill battle because for these things, developers still like to have control. But if you're part of a smaller organization, I would say Google Tag Manager or segment.io is a must-have, and it's not that hard to implement.
Yeah, and the key with any marketer, right, you want to make changes without relying on your developers because they're slow. And the moment you have to rely on developers to make changes, like it was funny, I was dealing with a buddy, and I can get him literally an extra $1 million plus in revenue from his blog. And it's a really simple change that wouldn't take more than a few hours. And you know what he told me? Oh, my dev said we can't do this in the next 30 days because we're changing hosts to SiteGround. And I'm like, what does that have to do with just making a quick change? You can make the quick change and still change hosts. It's not a big deal. The big thing that I've learned from all of this is how can you make changes without relying on anyone in development? And one thing that I like doing is tools like Optimizely or Visual Website Optimizer, or even Crazy Egg for that matter, have A/B testing in it. And when you're doing A/B testing, a lot of people use the A/B testing and the WYSIWYGs that these softwares provide to make crazy variations and do an A/B test, which is fine. Why not also use these tools to make adjustments to your website and save it? And instead of having an A/B test going, you can actually have one version getting 100% of the traffic. So a lot of times what I'll do is if I want to make a quick change, I'll go through Optimizely or Visual Website Optimizer or Crazy Egg, run a quick test or a change, make it the default. And then whenever my developer has time, he can then go back and hard code that in. But at least I'm getting the revenue in the meantime, right? The last thing I want to do is wait 30 days for a simple change before I can end up making that extra revenue. So these simple tools have WYSIWYGs, and WYSIWYGs are usable by anyone, you, me, anyone who doesn't have a technical bone in their body. So that's one thing that I love doing, so then that way I'm not relying on development.
Yeah, and expanding on Google Tag Manager, so the tools that Neil just talked about, you can easily use Google Tag Manager to bring them in, to start using them. And other tools out there, Hello Bar, for example, or if you're trying to, install other stuff that require Pixel, just remember Google Tag Manager allows you to do it. And if you want to get more, you don't need a technical background for this, but if you just go to YouTube, and I believe this guy's channel is called GTM Trainer, so Google Tag Manager Trainer, I think that's his name, and he has all these videos about Google Tag Manager and all the stuff that you can do it. So let's say somebody clicks on a certain button on your website, and you can count that as an event, or you can pass that as a goal inside of Google Analytics. And I think you can even get more ninja, where if somebody opts in or somebody's been on your email list and are taking certain actions on your site, you can see who specifically is visiting a certain page on your site inside of Google Analytics. So if you want to, spend some time, maybe 1, 2, 3 days or so setting up all this stuff, this guy has all these, Google Tag Manager hacks set up and you don't need to go to your developer to get this done.
Yeah, another thing I like doing is when you're setting up your website, try to get the developers as much as possible, whoever you're working with, to throw stuff up using WordPress. The reason I love WordPress is it's easy to use CMS. You don't have to be technical. And any custom change you want, probably a plugin for it. So then that way, all you have to do is just go into the WordPress plugin store, type in like SEO or whatever things you want done, like CRO, pop-ups, etc. Download a plugin for it, install it within the WordPress interface. You click on some design elements, add some text, and bada bing, bada boom, you're good to go. And you don't need any development for it, and it allows you to make changes way more faster and more efficiently.
Bada bing, bada boom. That's it for this episode of Marketing School. We'll see you tomorrow.
This session of Marketing School has come to a close. Be sure to subscribe for more daily marketing strategies and tactics to help you find the success you've always dreamed of. And don't forget to rate and review so we can continue to bring you the best daily content possible. We'll see you in class tomorrow, right here on Marketing School.